Hi, my name is Mark Monlux, and I'm going to be your host this week for Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is an online drawing group that meets once a week, typically on Mondays at 4:30. If you'd like to join us on Epic Sketch Time, down below in the link descriptions, you'll find a link that'll put you on a mailing list for reminders and for invitations. I'm a freelancer here in Tacoma, Washington, and one of the things I like to do is draw cartoon reviews of movies and work on playing cards. And with me are three gentlemen so far. Bill, why don't you start with the introductions?
Hi, I'm Bill Morse. I'm a freelance illustrator and cartoonist from Seattle, Washington. I like doing cartoons, and on the side, I've also been doing Game of Thrones illustrations and watercolors. And I also do a web comic called Rhapsodies, which you can find at rhapsodies.wpmorse.com.
Hey, my name is Locke. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I'm a, graphic illustrator, designer, and I do comics and stuff on the side. You can find me at Mad Monkey Love. That's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anything with Mad Monkey Love, you'll find me there. All right.
Hi there, I'm Roger from Spokane, Washington, a beginner cartoonist. Doing what I love to do. I'm into old-fashioned, old-school cartoon animation. Redesigned my setup so it's better for me, as well as, well, if I had a second camera, I'd have you see an overshot of the setup, but I'll have to show you by my shaky camera, and here goes. So, here's my glass. Glass piece of my desk. There's my paper animation. As you can tell, my light source is just an ordinary lamp. It's a homemade deal, but I like it, love it type of thing. So let me show you my style. There. That's me.
Cool.
Thanks.
So what's everybody working on today?
Well, with me, I'm finishing up the line work for this Alice's Testimony page, which is coming along nicely. I pretty much 3 more panels to finish before I start putting in the color, and with any luck, I'll be able to start making some pretty good progress with the flats in this hour.
I decided that I'll work on this creature for my next deck of playing cards. This is from Metamorphosis, the Alien Factor.
Okay.
I think I was working on this last week. Locke, is that a realistic version of Samurai Jack? What are you working on there?
I'm doing a couple pages of a story idea, basically a samurai versus Viking story.
Oh, cool.
I want to submit it for my next Cauldron issue or something like that. So that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm just drawing out what the character will look like, in an action scene, then maybe use that as one of the pages out of the 8 or 12 pages of the story concept. It's it's just basically Vikings accidentally landing on Japan, creating some havoc, and our hero is going to go after them. That's pretty much the synopsis.
Well, make sure that you use up the whole smelly foreigner angle, because I seem to recall that the Norsemen, they thought that the more you smelled, the more manly you were.
Oh dear.
And in Japanese society, having no scent is, being clean was, a major thing. Still is. The funny thing is, a lot of Japanese, since their diet is so lean in protein, they really don't smell when they sweat. Whereas Americans, boy, we just reek of fat and oils when we sweat.
Oh, man.
Yeah, can't help being a annoying pedant, because did samurai culture was even recognizable in the 8th and 9th century when the Vikings were at their height? I mean, Tale of the Genji was 11th century, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember. I just know that it's cool to have Vikings versus samurai, and that's what I want. And that's really it. I'm not gonna put it into history context. I'll probably have a couple zombies or vampires somewhere in there.
Say no more. This is the curse of being a history wonk, is that you get annoying even when you know that it's fantasy.
Well, what originally I had this whole thing worked out where I had I did another one of those the Kung Fu the Legend kind of thing, where I wanted a samurai guy showing up in the West, but and I also had these little concepts I've been sketching on the subway, or taking public transit of people and all that stuff, and I had this idea of having him just like a vampire. This is basically a vampire that was a slave trader, right? And that was the idea. He came by some island or something like that, and he took a lot of the people and he took it to North America. The trains, you know what I mean, like building the railroads and stuff.
Yeah.
And and after a while, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that was Shanghai Noon. That was that was the whole thing, right?
I know of it. I've never seen it.
Yeah, the Jackie Chan where the princess gets kidnapped and he has to go to. It's the same story of a hero out of place, right? The hero journey, right? He's comfortable at home. Something happens that makes him leave his home, go into an unknown place, and run into these perils, right? So then eventually something will happen where he gets reborn. He either dies or something. He gets rewarded at the end and he returns home. That's really what the hero's journey was.
Okay.
And so that was the concept of a vampire that was a slave trader, feudal Japan or something like that, comes by and takes all the villagers. And now he has to go to North America, deals with, in the mountain of Colorado or something, where the mining towns where vampires are hiding out in the mines and stuff. So he's basically hunting them down. That's really what the whole concept was. And that was my original intent. Then, I forget, I think I was looking at a Viking Discovery Channel kind of thing or whatever, and I thought, hey, that'd be cool. I just want something 8 pages or 12 pages of him. What would you do with a samurai versus a Viking, right? Right, and that was it. And then there was other ideas. A couple friends of mine saying, hey, why don't you make him? He has to travel east, or is it east or west, where he has to go through China, Mongolia, all these other places. You know, his journey's going through there, and you introduce him to all the different cultures, right?
Yeah.
Then eventually he gets to, you know, north, around England, around area, you know, the Viking areas and all that other stuff. I said, yeah, that's a long journey. And the whole idea was, how did the Viking get there in the first place, right?
Yeah, nice.
They had to go through the north, right, around the corner and all that stuff. So, yeah. But, you know, I just wanted something, you know, either this becomes an 8-page or a 24-page or something like that. I want to at least have another book, right? So that's my intent. So the first thing I always do is, you know, draw out a scene. I had this idea that he's in the some sort of wreath. You know, dripping in blood or something like that. And I was going to have a Viking axe somewhere in the scene or something like that. And that's really what it was. And a village burning in the background.
Nice.
Right. And that would be my little pitch. And I just got to work out the detail from there. What to keep. Do I just do the, you know, 12 pages of just from perspective of a Viking arriving on this foreign land and all that other stuff and running into the samurai, and that's how you kind of end it there. And I thought that would be a good concept of you know, of just them Viking crew just journeying, getting lost in a storm, and they appear this land, you know, this mystical land out of nowhere, and they, you know, pillage and plunder or something like that, right? And that was the whole idea. And you run into this guy, and that's where, you know, and some of the Vikings escape or something like that, and, you know, our hero stands at the shore as Watchum goes away, right? The ship sails away, and that's how I was thinking of doing it, like that way, and doing a 12-page one shot, you know. Then let's see what kind of traction, and I'm hoping to pitch that and put that into the Cauldron magazine we've been doing, right? Maybe the 4th or 5th issue of the magazine, right? The thing that's bugging me right now is the shoulder.
The top one or the bottom one? Because
top one.
The top
one. I'm gonna erase it and try it again. It's this right here. And you can see all my red line, right? That's, you know, I'm just trying to get it right, and it's just like not following into place. And I think I was rushing it when I was doing that.
Try moving it way up higher.
Yeah, or further back away, or make it disappear a little bit more. I think that's the only way I saw it.
Well, that particular stance, for a Japanese samurai, is the arm is the bicep is parallel with the body.
Yeah,
and the shoulders up really, really high. So I think that's what's throwing you off.
Yeah, I have to actually do that. I have a katana, and I gotta actually. I remember my, you know, I'm trying to get the leg again, and I'm trying to remember how my toe was supposed to point it when I'm doing the horse stance, and the Shotokan. I'm trying to remember the name. Oh my god, that's what you get when you haven't practiced karate in like 6 months. Yeah, there's proper postures for movements and stuff, and when you stand in that motion, I know I'm supposed to be. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it and get my wife to take a picture of it, so at least I know where my shoulder's gonna feel. I was looking for it somewhere on Pinterest, but it's hard Maybe I have to actually look for the actual technical term. That's a good idea.
Well, you could always go to a Kendo website and see if they have a step-by-step for you.
Yeah, I have I got my blue belt advanced. I should know my proper pose.
I mean, Pinterest has some fairly good stuff. The most useful page I have so far is this one called the character design sketch challenge.
Oh yeah?
And yeah, essentially they've created this complete and utter dictionary of every reference you can think of. It's the point where it's my go-to page for Pinterest.
Right.
So here, very much worth it. So essentially just about every anatomical reference you can think of, tutorials. I think they had a samurai thing.
Right.
Unfortunately, frequently a lot of the quality of some of those channels is how much of demand there is. So
yeah,
at the moment what they call martial arts is strictly Eastern martial arts. They finally separated boxing and fencing from it.
Right.
But
so what's the name of this Pinterest channel?
A character design challenge. I just put the link to it up.
Oh, and like the chat box?
Yes.
So, oh yeah, so it's literally www.pinterest.com/character design. Well, hold on. That link, is that the Xi as in a psi, or is that an N typo that you have there at the end? You meant to say design, not the Xi, right?
No, it appears to be design.
Oh. Interesting.
Yep, it's design.
So whoever created the
guy who runs it is from Dublin, but I don't think I'd blame that on him.
I'm sure if you type in design, you're gonna get something else. I guarantee it. It's somebody already took it, so he just literally just
made a slight change just so they could have a
character outfits. Oh, that's cool. That's very, very cool.
It's awesome. As I said, that's why I have it bookmarked all the time. Right. It's definitely one of the first places to check.
Let's look at the board.
Because I mean, Google Images continues to frustrate me.
Yeah, I get that too.
The most I mean, the last couple of times it was sort of a almost sexist thing where word of advice: do not look for, if you're doing a cute picture with cowgirls, do not look up cowgirls on Google Images. Even when I had the filters set to Puritan levels, I still had models dressed in bikinis and chaps. And it was almost funny. Yesterday, I was looking for some references of lots of people riding horses. So I did a search for cavalry. Nothing but Good Friday until 2 pages down.
Oh, here we go. It's okay. Character outfit, samurai. Oh, I remember these. Yeah, the shoulder does go back, and the arm is hidden behind. But because he's putting the katana forward, I gotta try it.
Yeah, at my high school that I was at, I had a choice of either taking kendo or judo,
Oh.
and so I sat in and looked at both, and I went for judo, and the deciding factor was the noise level. Kendo is so noisy with all the yelling and the whacking and the thumping and the crack. Oh my God.
The yelling is actually designed for you to breathe out. When I'm doing my kata, I tend to hold my breath and I forget. And by the time I reach my third stance or something like that, I'm out of breath. And that's why you have Kya! All this other stuff, so you can actually breathe out and release that. But yeah, kendo is a bit loud because they are doing a lot of yeah, a lot of tricks, a lot of
And it was also really smelly. I know I was saying that Japanese don't smell a whole lot, but if you have a whole school full of high school kids all in that heavy protection armor, screaming and yelling and banging each other with sticks, oh my God, you open up the door and this big wave of, high school locker smell just hits you.
You've been in a hockey ring, a hockey arena?
Oh, is that what I'm describing?
Exactly. That's exactly what you're describing. I remember my hockey bag is just not the best thing in the world. I was 16, pimply, and oily, and playing hockey. That's what it was. Everything smelled, no matter what. And I think it was a natural odor.
Whereas you go to the judo class, the gis, or the coach there, hey, you better have a nice clean gi. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He don't want to be grabbing you when you're all smelly.
Yeah.
I still have my my judo and my karate gi. Put that much money into something, you don't toss it away. How about you, Bill, and Roger? How either one you did any martial arts training?
I took Kaikoshin karate for about half a year, and then I moved out here and didn't get back in. I mean, at the moment, all I remember from my training is to how to throw a halfway decent basic punch.
I really liked my karate teacher. He said, "What's the smartest tactic in fighting?" And I said, running away. And he says, "You're going to make an excellent student." So,
that's my choice too.
Yeah.
I saw the third How to Train Your Dragon movie.
Oh, good. I've been hearing good things about it. How'd you like it?
To be honest, I can only give it like a 6.
Okay.
I've seen most of the TV show,
Yeah.
and I think the prior movies had a dire sense of urgency to them
Right.
that this one lacked. And I also don't think they did the characters as much justice as they could have.
That's interesting. The main review that I read of the animation reviewer, who I like her stuff, her biggest problem again was not having a lot of the challenges quite as good as from the television show, and she was thinking, and she thought, and she didn't care for the comic relief friends anymore. I.e., how can Rough Nut and Tough Nut still be stupid and still be alive?
Well, the TV show filled out their characters so much that you would expect them by the time the movie comes around for them to, reflect that growth in the movie.
Yeah.
But they completely discarded that. So.
I saw a really good movie yesterday.
Do tell.
The Big Short. It was very good.
Who is in The Big Short?
Kristen Bale, Steve Carell, Brad Pitt.
Oh, is this about the people betting against the?
This was about a handful of people who predicted the inevitable housing crisis and cashed in.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what to expect, but it was really good. I mean, Kristen Bale's performance. This is a movie that I am putting on my comic strip bibliography now, because for anybody who follows my comic strip Rhapsodies, Christian Bale is very like one of my main characters, Brian, minus the hyperactivity.
So a couple weeks ago, Bill and I attended a Graphic Artists Guild webinar called Instagram for Graphic Artists. And I've been following some of the tips and suggestions at that webinar. I took some notes, and you can find them on my Instagram account if you look up Mark Monlux Instagram. I do sketch notes on almost all the little seminars I go to, so look for that one. And I have to say, it has, oh my God, I'm using Bill's phrase. It really has made a difference. I'm posting the same amount as I was before, maybe a little bit more. I'm picking which days I'm posting and which times I'm posting based on the new the feedback that I can see now from the business account. And I've picked up in just the last 2 weeks about 100 followers.
Wow.
Though I don't think I'm quite as good as you are yet, Bill, with assigning the correct hashtags.
Yeah, that's a bit of a challenge. I mean, I generally try to go with just about everything I can think of, but at the moment I wouldn't be able, unless I get something that's blatantly from a hashtag, I wouldn't know what's working best.
I have a sticky note with all my hashtag on it. I just copy and paste.
Yeah, I mean, the person giving the webinar was providing an example of having a basic list that would be on your
I think she said Evernote.
Yes,
Yeah, Evernote. Yeah, you can do that too.
So among other things, because of that, as a default, I always have either Seattle Cartoonist or Seattle Illustrator on my tagline. It depends on what I'm posting. I rarely put the Seattle Illustrator tag on when it's blatantly a cartoon, or at least a black and white cartoon. And it's pretty interesting. I've also been trying to use the map best time strategy on other things. For example, I did a mailing this morning, which I'd actually done writing the copy and putting everything together on Saturday, but I figured more people would be likely to respond to it if I didn't post it on the web on the weekend. So I scheduled it for 9:30 this morning, and it appears to have gotten more people opening it based on that.
Now I switched from using TweetDeck to doing all my scheduling because I was using TweetDeck to schedule my Twitters, but I like how Hootsuite you can schedule your Twitters, your all your social media things, your Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. You can schedule all your postings on Hootsuite.
Yeah, because at the moment I have it just for Twitter and Instagram because the whole do it for free thing, I believe they only allow for three platforms, and since I have about three different Facebook accounts, I'm not sure which to use it for. And
well, you could always get another. You have multiple email addresses, so you can have multiple accounts as long as you sign in with different emails and different passwords.
That could be useful when I put an account together for Cartoonist Northwest.
So, if I may interrupt, you might try snapfiles.com.
Okay.
They've got a big list of freeware and software and shareware. It's a great site. Got a whole bunch of softwares that you might look into depending on what freeware or shareware you're looking for. And then check and double check each software to make sure it's not bugged or filled up with miscellaneous junk file per se, unless they give you a notice. Anyway, that's my go-to file setting for networking and email and the other item you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be beat because the other file sites are random and they're disorganized, but snapfiles.com is definitely go-to one to check out if you want to.
Right.
I'll go and take a peek at it. Thanks, Roger.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, like I said, it's well organized, functional. And most download within 30 seconds to 3 to 4 minutes, depending on the size, of course. They've got a boatload of freeware animation and graphics, a boatload of graphic converters, video converters, video downloads, webcam converters, and so forth. So yeah, check them out if you want. Okay, to Bill, this is Flip Paint.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying great.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Full featured, you know. I tried the open source one and get through it. The early version of that one was better than the latest one. For me, if I haven't got a palette that makes sense on the other side of my canvas, I don't use it.
Right.
I've discovered layers and how to use them. Wow, I love layers.
Oh, layers rock.
Yeah, layers rock in most any software.
All right, that looks a lot better.
Yeah, it does.
Definitely.
Did you just cover it up with a shirt?
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, the idea was he's loose in one side, right? I do that with the katana just to give you more free motion, just getting things out of the way.
Well, those multiple lines there, right at the
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna rework that a little bit more. Just
So
clean up.
I think no, that's a good cheat. That's what I was about to say. I think
No, I'm gonna paint it. I think I'm going to get rid of it later on when I get into it and in the texture. I'm gonna do a lot more of the paintly background. This year, just to give me an idea for flow and dynamic, and I'll probably paint it. And when I paint it, I can see it better with the proper lighting. You know what I mean? Like, the shadows and the casts and all the other stuff.
Right. So what are you going to paint it in? Watercolor or oil or?
No, it's all digital, right? So I do a lot of the digital stuff. So I'll do some sort of background paint on that just to focus the character a little bit more. I'll probably blend in the lines and stuff like that too.
Oh, okay. I guess I meant what brush of oil might you use or something in digital?
For me, it's digital. It's one brush.
One color? Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of my stuff is a Paintly Photoshop brown brush. I have a brush-sized varies and the amount of paint I apply is usually 100, but my density of paint is around about 60, 68%. So I want it a little bit more transparency. So when I put that on, at least I have control. And because this is a pressure sensitive display, that's why I have it at a certain amount, because I press a certain way.
Right.
So I got to play with that kind of stuff based on exactly what kind of texture I'm doing, right? So let's see if I can.
Now, remind me, is this going to be printed out on paper?
Yeah, I usually do these. So this is what me painting looks like. I forgot I was playing with this. I thought that was kind of cool. It's a Gomet color wheel. Forgot all about those things. Using 50% gray in the center.
Yeah.
Remember the Gomet colors of Gamut, anyways?
Yes.
That's because I'm always messing around with this, right? You know, my saturation, my brightness, and my hue. And I figure, I might as well load this. This makes more sense. It's quicker for me to sample from.
Yeah.
Where did I find it? I found it on Pinterest, I think. Downloaded it. I'm just going to load it and keep it up on the background. That's what I keep forgetting about. Did you update the new Clip Studio?
I wasn't aware of a new one.
Oh, there's a new one, 1.86.
I'm sure
They threw in these. They threw in 12 realistic watercolor brush.
I'm sure they'll tell me about it soon enough. Tell me I have to switch to it soon enough.
It's you know, it's not bad. I got a round watercolor brush. Let's see. There's you know, it's a multiply, so used for blending. A little bit of a flat watercolor brush, so it's got a different tail. I kind of like the rough watercolor brush. And that's what I was playing with this smoke thing in the background here. Let me turn off the character. Where is the character? Yep, there we go. That's the background.
Probably definitely good to look it up. I'm getting a little tired of my computer telling me that it's not, that whatever software I have before I upgraded is not optimized.
Yeah. It's neat. It's got a bunch of new features. It's got some mannequins in here too, which I don't really play with. You know, the 3D functions and stuff like that for posing, which I could have used, but I don't know. It's just...
Generally, I find them more trouble than they're worth.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured.
I mean, if I can do... If I want to figure out poses, I still find it easier to do it on Poser and import the JPEG from there.
Right.
Okay. I believe we're ready to start.
Bill, I saw a Facebook event for the IGA Smooth Fest. Is that different than what you normally go to, or is that the?
That's the schmooze. That's what they have every month. Yes.
Okay.
Generally pretty good, though. Admittedly,
Free booze?
they can. No, you got to pay for the booze, unless they occasionally they'll chip in for the hors d'oeuvres, but not often enough. And they do get kind of loud. I find it frustrating considering people frequently think that I'm too loud for public company, and then in these things, suddenly discovering that I am not even close to loud enough.
I spent my Sunday at a local comic shop doing sketches for Pledge for a local hospital.
Nice.
And I think I spent the whole day drawing Batman Who Laugh.
Oh dear, that could get tedious.
It's the in thing now, right? I don't know what it was, and it's just I happened to draw one on a blank sketch cover, issue 1. It's on my Facebook there, and everybody loves it. I use Copic markers and the whole works, and it took me hours because got to wait for the ink to dry. I forgot those things. I posted it, and one of the a friend of mine who runs these little mini cons decided to buy it off me because he wants to auction it off, or for if you bring in he has little Comic Cons every other weekend or so around the city and different locations in the province of Ontario. And what he does is he partners up with the local food bank. So if you bring in a can of food, you can get in for free, and you get a raffle ticket for door prizes and stuff.
Nice.
So that's what he does, and he wants to do that kind of stuff. And yeah, the whole day I brought my little sketch card for $10. You can get I have a 4x6 sketch cards that I do with Copic and all that stuff, and my other artist friends around me are doing 8.5 by 10 sheets and stuff like that. They're just doing real quick pencil and ink sketch. And I'm doing Copic, and they saw the Batman Who Laughs. Oh, can I get one of those? Can I get one of those? Like, the whole day I'm sitting there drawing the damn thing over and over again.
Well, you must have had the strokes down by the end of the day.
Oh my God. I was if I have to do this at a con, I'm going to charge like 4 times the amount. It reminds me of was it Rob Liefeld, the guy that did Deadpool?
Oh God, yes.
His con price is like if you want any other character other than Deadpool, it's $50. But if you want Deadpool, it's $1,000.
Interesting strategy.
Well, because he's tired of drawing them, right?
I'm trying to remember who it was, which Batman artist his name, but I saw there was this YouTube channel, and there was this comedy show about this comic book shop, and they would have real comic book artists come in, and he was going in with Scott Kurtz, and they were doing a double person special appearance, and everybody was standing in his line, and they would make multiple requests of him, do Wolverine, or do Adam Strange, and this comic book artist would always draw a Spider-Man head instead. There you go, but that's not Spider-Man, right? So I think he was a Spider-Man, known for drawing Spider-Man, and they made fun of the fact that that's all he would draw.
What was the show?
I can't remember this. I can't remember what the series was called, but it was pretty funny. You know, nothing like snarky employees at the comic book shop. This is how many years ago? I'm trying to even place that down for you. If anyone's listening and they know the show that I'm talking about, please put a comment. Because I never would. Usually don't keep track of the YouTube shows I'm watching. I'll subscribe to them and then keep active. And I think I lost track of this show when that big kerfuffle with YouTube and subscriptions went through a couple years ago.
Oh yeah. I think that's just mostly recent, I think.
But I do recommend Glove and Boots for anyone who likes to watch a funny YouTube channel involving puppets.
Uh-huh.
They went off the air for about a year and a half because of the kerfuffle. They just couldn't make any money. And so they came back in and restructured it so that, you know, they could actually make money.
Yeah.
So, does anyone remember the Jim Carrey show, 1984, called The Duck Factory? Where he plays an
yes.
animator?
Yeah, I remember watching that.
The Duck Factory?
Yeah, it was Jim Carrey's first main television show. It was all where he's the director of this animation studio that does this show about this goofy duck and all of the eccentric divas he has to work with. The only character I remember out of it is their main voice actor, who did so many characters he couldn't remember what his real voice was.
I do not remember this show at all.
It wasn't on very long, about 6, 7 shows before it canceled.
One of my favorite shows that I thought really deserved to be followed, but only lasted 6 episodes, was a thing called Wonderfalls.
Oh yeah, I remember it. I watched the whole season that they had on DVD.
Yeah, you can get the full season on DVD, and the premise is there's this girl didn't really do well in college, a bit of a dropout from college, and she's working at the tourist trap at Niagara Falls, and suddenly the objects in the tourist trap start talking to her.
And not in a conversational kind of way. I think one of the reasons it didn't do so well was it had the bad luck of being coming out about the same time as Joan of Arcadia.
That's true, it did.
And though it's interesting, I'm a big fan of that showrunner. He's also the talent behind Dead Like Me, Pushing Daisies, and American Gods. And the guy never seems to last more than and Hannibal, and he never seems to last more than 2 seasons on anything.
And all those shows you just mentioned, I
Mhm.
loved Pushing Daisies. My wife and I, we loved that show. Never really got into watching Hannibal, though I've seen a couple episodes.
I mean, obviously, I am totally not its target audience, but
Hannibal?
Hannibal, yeah.
Oh, it's a great show.
Yeah.
I loved it. Very dark. There's a whole con of that here.
I really like
Hannibal.
Mads.
Yeah.
I really like Mads Mikkelsen's performance as
Oh,
the
yeah.
title guy. I mean, I almost think he's better than Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Now, I did watch Hannibal, the movie, where it goes into his childhood.
How was that? I didn't sort of.
I liked it. It starts off in World War II, so that's really where it was, and it's twisted, but it's really good. I mean, there's stuff that they could have done, but you know.
Yeah, it's somewhere between a 6 and a 7, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how much of a tearjerker Toy Story 4 is going to be.
I have no idea. I've sort of been very skeptical about it.
Well, Tom Hanks was talking in an interview how when he was doing the final taping, he had to really compose himself up. So I'm sure it'll just be devastating to watch.
Well, you know, they probably paid him like $100 million for the role. You know, it's my last paycheck.
Yes, the last story, Toy Story. This time we mean it, really.
Yeah.
Getting like Friday the 13th.
Oh, come on. Friday the 13th was always meant to be a franchise cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for some reason that was the most blatant example of that I'd ever seen at the time.
I saw a documentary about that somewhere. I'm trying to remember the name.
On Friday the 13th?
Not on Friday the 13th, but it's just the slasher movie itself. They talked about it. Something about King of Gore? No. I'm trying to remember.
I mean,
So, Mark, where do you sell your cards to?
oh, I sell my cards at comic book conventions, and I also sell them online.
Right.
And they've sold better than my other material online on my online store, but usually I have to do sort of like a little bit of an online push for them. But for the most part, they are one of my biggest sellers at comic book conventions. And I'm way behind on getting my third book out. And I'm going to be going to Emerald City, and everyone's going to be saying, hey, dude, it's been more than long enough for you to put out a new book. And I'm going to have to...
This time?
Pardon me?
What was the topic this time?
Oh, this is I Watch Dead People.
Oh, right. I think you... Oh, sorry. I think I should have remembered that.
So, how long in between books?
Between 4 and 5 years, and you really need to speed it up a little bit. I do have enough content to do 2 other books fairly rapidly after this one. I've been more... my problem is that I haven't been putting out a movie review every week like I had in the past. And that really slowed down the production. Almost to the point of I was kind of going, why am I even trying to put these books out? They don't make that much money. Maybe I should do a different project. And then I think, well, maybe I should just concentrate on doing these cards instead because the cards sell. But then I realized if I did my books and got them funded on Kickstarter, oh, I haven't been screen sharing at all. People have just been watching the top of my head.
I wanted to mention it, but then with the headphones, I was wondering if there was a technical problem that you were dealing with.
Oh, no, I just completely forgot.
Sorry.
So, let me, I'll show you guys what I'm working on. No, the reason I have the headphones on is I picked up my wife early today because she had a headache at work and she's upstairs napping. And I've been kind of trying to keep it quiet. So I've just been going in and adding in this blue level on this monster, and what I'll do later on is just grab this and
6 layers.
Yeah, I'll just wiggle down the opacity on the layers to get it to where I really want it. But I always start off with something really harsh, and then I'll mess around with it. Like I'll probably end up going with about that color. And I think what I'll do now is I'll go in and give it a tone layer on top of that. So I might come back in and do like green areas of it to give it even some more weird depth. But that's capturing it pretty well right there.
Right. So what are you going to reproduce them out on card stock?
They're going to be reproduced as playing cards, just like I did my initial, like a deck of poker cards.
Oh, okay.
I have one deck of cards that I've done already for obscure movie monsters, and this deck is going to be obscure movie aliens.
Oh.
And the cards sell great. Yes, just wonderful. I would say that they're about a third of my sales. They're a nice profit margin. They're at the $15 mark. I don't even sell my books for $15, and I sell them for $12. So I'm getting a much higher they take up less space. They sell faster. All in all, they just were a good choice for me to sell at conventions. But I do like drawing my movie reviews. The main reason I do my movie reviews isn't so much as to sell the books as it is to promote myself as an illustrator to people that I've gotten to know. And that way they can get a cartoon from me once a week. But I realized that when I redid my mailing list that I lost a lot of those people. So I have to rethink my strategy on my mailing list and everything. Oh, gentlemen, it is getting to 5:30.
Okay.
So I want to thank everyone again for coming and doing another episode of Epic Sketch Time.
Before so far.
Yeah, let's do one last look on your illustration, see how far you come along. That shoulder's looking a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. Now I'm going to work on the pants and the legs. It's supposed to have an arrow through his leg. I'm debating which direction, but I think it's this back leg here. I need to rework that. And literally, I'm going to have to go, and after this, I'm going to go do a stance and get my wife to take a picture of that. So I can see where my calves are turned and how it's twisted into the water. So
I'm going to really enjoy seeing the blood dribble into the water and see how you colored the blood staining the water.
Yeah. It's the idea is to flow directly towards the audience, right? To pull focus. And there's supposed to be later on. I'm debating on what it is that's going to be in the foreground, right? So the overall image is, here's the background. So he's in a bamboo reed kind of thing. So I'm pointing everything towards you, I'm pulling focus towards that person, and the water is just, stream of the blood or whatever it's supposed to come right around here. So it just pulls everything towards you. So whatever is there, either a floating head or something, to indicate there's a Viking here or something, right? So that's the issue. And I got a little bit of a, mountaintop in the back, maybe some smoke coming from the village or something like that. So those are the little things I want to, draw your attention to. But more likely, a lot of this will be painted. And I'm looking at, I don't know. I really like the Chinese or the Japanese calligraphy brush when they do the bamboos, when they do those things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of something like that for the background, just something very, I don't know yet. It's going to be one of those pieces. I'm going to try to see if I can get a piece done. Hopefully by next week is the Toronto Comic-Con.
Have you thought about maybe having a drinking horn floating in the water?
Yeah, something there, something to indicate that there is a Viking here or something. Even a battle axe in the foreground, dripping blood to that same spot or something like that. I don't know. It'll come to me once things fall into place, right? It's always adding stuff as I go along, right? Yeah. That's what I'm working on. And the other stuff later on is I'm working on a piece for later on in the summertime, a sci-fi festival too. Forgot about that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
And I think now that I'm blocking the color, the flats, finally getting the flats in, I think getting to look like it's getting somewhere. I'm mostly happy with it, though the downside when you start coloring, you suddenly start noticing all the little mistakes you made with the line work that you still need to fix.
Yeah. Looks good though.
Yeah, so far I'm pleased with it.
Yeah.
And what about you, Roger? Will you hold up what you've been working on?
I'm working on animation for the 11 Second Club. as well as the Facebook animation challenge on various cartoon Facebook pages, so on and so forth right now. But yeah, I've got several irons in the fire type of thing.
Well, everybody, you heard it here first and last, and we will see you next week on Epic Sketch Time. Thanks for joining, everybody.
You'll have a good one.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.